Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Hunter Foreman, and today we're going to talk about probably one of the most anticipated albums in the past couple of years, and probably like 3 or 4 years. Everybody, ever since Travis Scott came out with Rodeo, he immediately started talking about an album called Astroworld, which is the name of an old theme park that was in Houston, which is where Travis Scott is from. Now, when I heard about this album, I was like, okay, so this is basically going to be the sequel, because he actually said this is the rodeo that's going on inside of Astroworld. And then I'm going to introduce you to the rest of the world later, rest of Astroworld later, in a different album. So when I heard this, I was like, okay, I'm interested. And then Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight came out. And I was like, okay, but we're still waiting on Astroworld, right? So Astroworld finally dropped. First week of August. It dropped. And boy, did it live up to its hype, in my personal opinion. I'm going to go, down these tracks. I'm not going to go over all of them, but I'm going to go down these tracks and really speak on why I think that this is one of the best albums of 2018. First things first, I'm a Travis fan. I really am. I liked Rodeo. I really liked Rodeo when it came out. I liked Birds, but both of those felt like something was missing. But when I heard Rodeo, I just felt I needed some more into it. I felt like, there were some great songs on there, like Wasted, 90210, 3500. Well, I think that song was really long. Piss on Your Grave. There was a lot of good material on there, especially Apple Pie. That's my favorite song off that album. And then Birds came out. Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight came out, and I was like, okay, this is mainstream Travis. This is Travis who's going, looking for a hit. And he did. Goosebumps. Goosebumps, Wonderful, Pick Up the Phone. Those were hits. Those were hits right off the bat. Now, what I think Travis did is he started recording Astroworld, I believe, right after Rodeo. I want to say, I was really excited when he kept hyping this album. When he kept just saying, this is going to be awesome. Astroworld, we get to eat kids, blah, 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 all that. I loved all of that. Now, I'm not the type of person to, when Travis comes out with something, I'm like, this is the greatest album. He is the greatest artist of all time. No, I'm not going to do that. Is Travis going to go down as one of the best? Yes, I truly believe that, because he is a triple threat. He can write songs. He can make beats, and he can make the music himself. He brings a lot to the table. I understand why so many artists, co-sign him, like Kanye West, T.I., T-Set. And ladies and gentlemen, y'all have to understand this. Kanye is not getting a dime from this man. He is not getting a single dime from any of this man's album sales. You know who makes all the money at the end of the day? Epic Records and Grand Hustle. Grand Hustle is T.I.'s label. Y'all got to remember that T.I. is getting a piece of this. So whenever you think oh, Kanye discovered Travis, no, he didn't. I truly believe that T.I. did. And what's crazy is that T.I. hasn't appeared on any of his albums since the first one. He didn't appear on Birds in the Trap. He didn't T.I. didn't have Travis on any of his albums. So I don't really want to know what the relationship's like that, but that's for a different discussion. Let's get into this album. Travis, I want to commend you on the rollout for this album. You made the first song that you were going to give a teaser to, Stargazing. You made that the first track on the album. I'm glad you released that, because if you were to release the 8th track, maybe the 9th track, or hell, maybe even like the 13th track, that would have given away a lot. But I'm glad, like, so, like, when you pop in the album and you listen to it from 1 to 17 in order, you're like, okay, I heard this song. I heard it in the trailer. Okay, then I'm glad for whatever's next happens. Like, that's like, premiering the first scene of the movie. You don't premiere you do. That's a good way to do it. That's how I would do it if I was still a musician. If I would make the first song that I'm gonna release the very first song that you hear on the album, so that way I don't give away the album. That way I don't catch you. That way you don't have to wait until probably the 8th song to catch, like, oh, this is the single. No, I'm not gonna do that. That's very smart of you, Travis. Second, I want to commend David LaChapelle. I think that's how you say his name, for the artwork. I know there's a lot of controversy about a transgender woman being removed from the physical artwork, and I don't really know. I guess she upstaged everybody, and no one's. I guess she didn't put out a long post about her being removed. I think she was like, okay, that seems reasonable. Travis did this thing where he had the little blow up Travis head pop up in different locations, and I was like, yo, this makes me want to hear this album more, because it's like he's doing all of this cool promotion. Like, he didn't, like, there's, like, what I love about some of these number one artists is that they don't have to have a pre-order for your album. Like, if Travis would have put a pre-order on the album before it came out, it would have lost a lot of buzz. Some people can pull that off. Like when Beer Bongs and Bentleys came out by Post Malone, he had a pre-order to his album, and he, put all the stuff that we heard before, and then he, it still worked because it's one of the most selling albums this year. So, back to Stargazing. I'm a little sidetracked. When I heard Stargazing, I was like, this is Travis 2.0. This is the, I'm already off the rip. I'm already thinking this is the album that Travis wanted to make. This is the album that should have been. He said this should have been his second album, and I completely see it already. Like the very aggressive drums by Hit Boy. As I can look here, Mike Dean, dude. Mike Dean is a genius. Okay, Mike Dean did executive produce this whole thing, and I'm going to need Mike Dean to do that for every Travis album. Whatever approach you took for this album, Travis, I need you to take it for every album, because now I'm with hearing this album. After I get used to it more, I'm gonna want to hear the next one. I'm gonna want to hear the next one, because it's like this album is by far. And this is gonna sound really crazy, this is his best work. I know it's too soon, but I'm so familiar with Rodeo and Birds in a Trap that I can honestly say that this was his best work. Like, just by the attention to detail. And I'm gonna get real, surgical with it when I get to Sicko Mode. Shout out to Sci-Hi the Prince. I believe he donated his pen to a couple of these songs. Sci-Hi the Prince is supposed to release a 7-track album produced by Kanye West, which, Travis, I'm so glad that you did not follow that formula, because that would have not worked for you. I'm glad that you stuck to your guns and you made the album that you wanted. Now, moving on to Carousel. Oh, also, shout out to 30 Rock and Sunny Digital. 30 Rock's been all over the place. He works very closely with Mike Will Made It, so you probably hear the tag 30. You a fool for this one, especially in the Zoom challenge. That song Mickey by, I think it's Offset and Lil Baby and Lil Yachty. I think that's the name of the song. Shout out to him, and shout out to Sunny Digital, one of my favorite producers of all time. Moving on to Carousel. First of all, Travis, I wanna specifically commend you on the transitions in this album. Like every song flows together, even if there's multiple beats on the song, which I'm gonna get to, and why I think that's even more genius. Every song just moves into like it's literally like a roller coaster, which is why it's called Astroworld, which it was a amusement park. Like, this is ridiculous of how like well thought and well crafted this album is. Carousel, Frank Ocean with featuring Frank Ocean. I didn't necessarily like Travis's vocals. It took a little bit, it took a little bit of me to get into the actual album, or the actual song, excuse me. And Hit Boy going solo on the production. Hit Boy has a song with Frank Ocean and Travis Scott, and he produced it all by himself on Astroworld. That's incredible. Shout out to Hit Boy. Carousel's a good song, but it took a little bit of time just to get into the actual song. I love Frank Ocean's vocals. I think it was a nice touch. And then moving on to what is the most talked about song on the album, Sicko Mode featuring Drake. Now, what's crazy about this, and I'm gonna say this, and this is, and a lot of people are gonna come for me in the comments on this. Drake did not have the best verse on this album. His feature was good, but it was not the highlight. You want to know what the highlight was? That cadence, that rhyme pattern, and that melody that Travis did, where he's like, I'm off the Remy, ain't no papoose, yeah, I gotta open, it's just a ghost. That cadence right there, that melody pattern, that cadence right there, oh man, I was like listening to this and I was like, dude, why can't you rap like this all the time? Like, that flow and that just everything was fit for that song. I'm off the Remy, some ocean, it's just a pool. Like, come on, bro. Like, that melody pattern was so perfect. Like, and I rarely say like things were perfect, but that was just well orchestrated. That's why I like Travis, is because I feel like he has this vision in his head, and if it doesn't sound right, not even the slightest, like if it's 99% right, he wants that 1%, because that 1% is going to drive it over the top and make it sound amazing. So Sicko Mode is great, but Travis's vocal patterns on this and the production, shout out to Tay Keith, by the way, with the second part of the beat, and Hit Boy and Q Beats were on this as well, and OZ, an international producer who you've heard a lot of. I guarantee you, I pull up a lot of songs from him, then y'all will be like, oh, okay, I've heard this. So this was a good touch. R.I.P. Screw. R.I.P. Screw. I like it. I think it was a good touch. I like the way there's a couple more Houston influences on this entire album. I mean, 5% Tint, that's a little Kiki sample. And the Goody Mob, who's that creeping in my window? Yes, the doom 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 doom. I love that. I think that was a good choice of, I'm glad that Travis Scott's a producer, because he just has that right ear for everything, and he knows that a beat is going to sound right with the right samples and the right drums and the right synths and everything. So I'm glad he has the ability to do all of that. Stop Trying to Be God. Okay, when I heard that Stevie Wonder was going to be on this album, I instantly got, like, almost had an aneurysm, because we would have been in the year of Drake and Michael Jackson having a collaboration, and Travis Scott and Stevie Wonder having a collaboration. Technically, it wasn't what we thought it was. It was just Stevie Wonder playing the harmonica. I'll take it, but it wasn't what we thought it was. I thought he was singing at the end of Stop Trying to Be God, but that was James Blake. James Blake, I'm officially a fan of yours now. I heard I heard you on King's Dead with Kendrick Lamar, Future, and J-Rock. I heard that, and I was like, okay, James. I heard your name, but I was just like, James Blake. Okay, and then I heard you singing on the end of Stop Trying to Be God, and I was like, this so beautiful. You have a beautiful voice. Pause. I don't care. Well, not even a pause, but like, you have a beautiful voice, sir. Like, that's crazy. Your singing was impeccable. It was very low. You sounded like an old black man, to be honest. I thought it was Stevie Wonder, but I was stupid to think that. So I was really impressed. And then we go to No Bystanders, which going from the old school of Stevie Wonder and James Blake, we go to the new school of Sheck West and Juice WRLD. Juice WRLD is on fire right now. Like, he's one of the hottest artists out, and Travis Scott was able to grab him at the right time to do this, and I think he did a great job. Same thing with Sheck West. 808 Mafia, Wonder Girl, TM88, and Mike Dean. Mike Dean was all over this album, but I specifically liked his contributions on this, because you can tell Mike Dean when he does albums, because he's a very synth kind of producer. You can tell by the synths, and good job, Mike. Like, I love this track. Not as much as I love Sicko Mode. It's my favorite song, but I like No Bystanders. It's a really good, new school kind of track. And then we go to Skeletons, produced by Tame Impala. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I've seen his name before, but I'm not familiar with him. The Weeknd. Shout out to The Weeknd, because he's on like 3 or 4 tracks on this album. This one was different. It was more darker. This song was a little more darker. I appreciated that everything was still flowing together. I appreciated that. And then we go into Wake Up, which is, more of the same, more of that that dark. And then we go to 5% Tint, which, shout out to FKI. Shout out to First, which of FKI. It's First and Sauce Lord Rich. Those are the 2 members of FKI, and FKI First produced this. 5% Tint. Who's that peeking through my window? Travis. Also, this is a side note. I want to hear what you sound like without auto-tune. I just want to hear that. I want to hear you without auto-tune. Just saying. The most freakiest song on this entire album, NC-17 featuring 21 Savage, produced by Boy Wonder of all people. I didn't expect Boy Wonder to produce this joint. I knew Boy Wonder was going to be on the song, but I didn't know that, it was going to be on it. But 21 Savage did his thing on the verse. That chain sex. I didn't like that. It was weird, kind of. The song was weird. Let's talk about, like, dominatrix shit, and I'm like, okay. All right, Travis, is that what you and Kylie do? Cool. Interesting. 21, is that what you and Amber did? Too much. Anyways, moving on to what I think was a recipe for greatness. And it turned out good, but I expected more. Because when I heard that John Mayer was going to be on this album, I got really, really excited. Because I love it when rappers bring people who I know who are amazing songwriters and amazing musicians from outside of rap into the rap world, and make, good songs like this. Like when ASAP Rocky did a song with Rod Stewart, my head almost exploded. Like, I was like, what? I couldn't believe that he did that. And the fact that he had him and Miguel on the same song, man, listen, crazy. So John Mayer lending a hand in the production and songwriting process. Also, Thundercat. Can we talk about how amazing Thundercat is? One of the best musicians of all time. He's done production from anybody from Mac Miller to Travis Scott. Like, yo, like, he's worked on countless Kendrick records. He's the song. He had an album called Drunk that I thought was amazing. He had a song with Kenny Loggins and Michael McDonald, which was a beautiful song. If anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, please go to wherever you get music, specifically Apple Music. Go to Thundercat's page and listen to the album Drunk, specifically the song with Michael McDonald and Kenny Loggins. Oh my goodness, that song is amazing. And then we get, again, like, he goes from, kind of an old school soulful approach, kind of, but still with that Travis sound, and then he switches it to a more newer sound as he goes with Yosemite, which is produced by Turbo and June James. I believe Turbo is an Atlanta producer, and June James I know who that is, that is a Houston producer. So somebody from Houston, besides Travis, really did touch this album. So, and that's amazing. I felt like Maxo Cream would have fit amazing on this album. That's just my personal opinion. But my only critique on this song is that Nav, bro, what distance? How far were you from the mic on while you're recording vocals for this song? Because I felt like you was like just chilling in the studio, like not even in the booth. Like, I know there's a mic outside the studio, so there's like or where the soundboard is, and you probably just were rapping, and then all of a sudden someone was like, okay, it's the verse, boom, and then you're like, yeah, okay, whatever, and then but you just don't even realize it. So Gunna has one of the most addicting sounds I've ever heard. Like, you can get roped in, like that flow is really addictive. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a Travis feature on his album. Which, if we can hear more from Travis and Gunna, I would love to hear that. Can't say. You can't say I'm mad enough. Smoking on the weed, I'm on that alcohol. I love that. I love this song. Don Toliver, I am going to listen to your music right after this. I like your vocals, sir. It's different. I've never heard somebody with that kind of sound. That sounds like you got a bubble in your throat, but it works. You can't say I'm hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not making fun of you at all. No, don't take this as disrespect. You you're like, but the way you use your voice, that you can't say I'm bad enough. Yeah, I like that. The typical, like, when I heard Who What featuring Migos, I was like, okay, this is the typical, but it's like the production's like dark. It's like thunder, like, and lightning, and like a rain, like it just reminds me of a thunderstorm when I hear this beat. Like, it's so just like heavy, But lyric wise, it's still the same. It's still the typical Travis Scott and Migos song. Like, shout out to Cardo and shout out to 30 Rock, and Quavo and Takeoff. Takeoff's not getting a lot of love, but he's on one of the best albums of this year. So there we go. Butterfly Effect, we've already heard it. It was a hit when it came out. He put it out on SoundCloud, and then all of a sudden it became humongous. So we don't need to talk about that. Houston Fornication. When I heard this song, when I saw the song title, I was like, I want to hear a Red Hot Chili Pepper sample, but I didn't get it. Shout out to Seven Thomas though. He does his thing consistently. He's one of my favorite producers. He did a lot of work on If You're Reading This, It's Too Late. He did Moolah by Kanye West in the Game. Go look that song up. That song is awesome. And I was once again very impressed with this song. I just wish that there was a Red Hot Chili Peppers sample. Like if you just took the guitar riff from Danny California. California. If you could have done that and it would have been amazing. But okay, I get you. And then we get to the very end of this album. This is by far the most left field I've ever heard Travis Scott on an actual kind of boom bap beat. I'm in the coffee bean. No. You know what I'm saying? Like, while I think he didn't handle it the way I wanted him to, I thought he was actually gonna like start like rapping. It sounded like a J. It's to me. I thought J. Cole was gonna be on this album by the sound of this beat. 1985. Shout out to OVO. Their producer wing is incredible. Got guys like Boy Wonder. You got guys like 1985, Maja Jordan. They do production. Specifically Jordan Ullman. I believe Mike Zombie. You know what I'm saying? Like they have a very stacked producer wing, and this is. I mean, I've heard 1985. 1985. He's been doing this whole Caribbean thing. I think he did production on Controlla, I believe. I think he did production on Controlla. So I was actually interested to see what this was going to sound like. I saw the producer credits, I think, before the album came out. So I was like, okay. 1985, are you giving me a Caribbean vibe? But he don't. It literally sounds like a song from a coffee shop. The song's called Coffee Bean, and it sounds like a song that you can, if you walk into like one of those, around the corner mom and pop coffee shops that's probably ran by like some 20-year-olds, you can easily play this song in the background and no one will bat an eye. So, I like the song though. Sai the Prince did some writing on this too. So, 17 songs of me taking a trip through Astroworld. Which stargazing was like basically riding up, and then 2 through 16 was just all the twists and turns and da-da-da-da-da-da. And then Coffee Bean was like the after party, I guess, of, you going back to the hotel and chilling. That was the mood that I got from listening to this album. So, what am I going to give this album? I'm going to give this album 9 out of 10. And I'm going to tell you why. 9 out of 10 because this was the album that should have went second. There's a couple of faux pas that took off half a point took off a full point for it being a 10 out of 10 for me, and I usually don't give it. I think the last 10 out of 10 I gave was Ty Dolla $ign's Beach House 3. But this album, if you listen to it 1 to 17, don't shuffle this album. Let me break something down to y'all. Do not shuffle this album. I'm tired of talking to some of y'all and y'all just like y'all hit shuffle and then y'all get to the Drake feature that's on track 9. No, listen to 1 through 8 and then get to track 9. Like, you will appreciate albums so much more if you just listen to them in the track listing that they come for. Then that just shits on everything that the artist has done from sequencing. You just get it and you're just like, shuffle. I dare, if I talk to one of y'all, I dare you, one of y'all tell me that y'all hit shuffle on one of the blueprints. I dare y'all to tell me that y'all hit shuffle on Scorpion. I dare y'all to tell me that y'all hit shuffle on KOD. We can take this outside. Nintendo Switch. Shout out to A Ward, because that was a Ward battle rap reference. I love battle rap. Anyways, so 9 out of 10. I'm really impressed with this album. It makes me want to hear like Astroworld 2. If you keep this vibe going, Travis, I want to hear the next one. So, I think this album's going to go number 1 on the Billboard charts. I think it's going to at least sell maybe 350,000. This is going to be a very successful album for Travis. I think it's already eligible to go gold already. Shout out to the streams. Yeah, great album, Travis. You really lived up to the hype to me. I can play this album all the way through and not really skip a track. Couple, but I like probably I can skip. If you give me like 2 skips, I'll be fine. So, well, that's my review of Astroworld. If you guys want me to review any more albums of your, suggestion, old or new, I'm thinking about doing a classic one. Maybe. We'll see. This has been Hunter Foreman from Flight 96. And y'all know the slogan, one love. Oh! Tune in tomorrow. Kid Money's going to be on the show.